we're talking about someone who has won 28 Grammys now and has still never received what album of the year or record of the year.
Yeah.
How is
Yep.
that possible?
How is that possible? It don't add up. Make it make sense.
It doesn't.
What's up, Janelle?
Hey, Broncy.
How's it going?
It is going per usual. I feel like we say the exact same thing at the beginning of every episode, but
I think it's just our intro, and
it's
that's
our
fine.
thing.
But then after we say it, then we really start to say how we're doing.
How we're really doing.
How are you really doing?
I'm okay. I'm good. I'm missing Brooklyn a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Probably because it's warming up there. And, just a lot going on down here. My brother's coming into town. I'm like, okay, full house again. But it's going. I might be back up there in a couple weeks. How about you? How are you doing?
Nice. It's weird. I'm doing good. But it still feels like this strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the weather warming up, that's good. Up here, when the weather warms up, it's like this phase of it not knowing what it wants to do. It can't make up its mind. So we'll have a 70-degree weather day, and then it'll be 30 degrees.
Exactly.
Feeling like 20. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Can we figure it out? So we're literally in the middle of that right now. But with the days getting longer, you know what's coming. You can sense it. You can feel it. So I'm excited about that and looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Fumbled a bag on coming to Miami because those tickets
I meant to ask you, did they?
I think once those stimmies start going out, the airlines were like, got you. So even with you, I would say start looking at your flight earlier.
See, and I just knew. Time. Yeah, I was like, I could book my flight the day before. It costs like $50. No?
Nah. I think those days are slowly moving beyond us.
And now people getting the vaccine and stuff. Which,
I mean, yeah.
Fingers crossed I get the vaccine soon because I'm trying to be...
We're talking about these prices. Right.
I'm trying to be on a flight too. Damn, that sucks. But it is what it is.
But I am coming down there for sure in April because one of my friends is having a birthday celebration.
Okay.
And he's based somewhere different. So he has all these different friends from different places. So definitely going to do that. I don't know if you'll still be there in April, but if so, that'll be a time.
Maybe.
That
we'll see.
But yeah, overall, pretty good. Stimmy's hitting everybody's account. So I'm glad to see everybody, feeling good about that. And then absolutely the people that really need it. So
yeah, for sure. For sure. Ready to jump in to Above the Fold?
What are you're not on the island today at all?
What do you mean?
With your drink?
Oh, no.
Okay, yay.
Because you judge me so harshly when I have my drink in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'll just stick to coffee too.
Oh, okay. Well, I have tea this morning, so some ginger tea.
That sounds good.
Still trying to wake up. But yeah, I'm ready to jump into Above the Fold for this week.
Cool. So we got a list of some pretty cool things that have happened over the past 2 weeks. First thing was something that you pinged me via DM on Instagram that was pretty interesting, to say the least. The Nike Mother's Spot. So it featured well-known athletes and just kind of everyday athletes that are mothers, showing them breastfeeding and how being a mother in itself is kind of being an athlete. You have to be on, you can't have a bad day, you have to perform. And a lot of people were praising the ad, which, Nike, we talk about it all the time. Nike knows how to put out those heartwarming, beautifully shot ads. And so on the surface, it looked great. But then you start remembering kind of the issues that Nike has had with, athletes, particularly track athletes, losing their contracts because after their pregnancy, they want, number one, being out for too long after giving birth and then coming back and not meeting their very strict or very yeah, very strict kind of times and stuff like that. And this one athlete, I believe she's an 800-meter runner, Alicia Montano, was one of the first people to speak up back then,
Mm, got
followed
you.
by Allison Felix. Um, and yeah, I'm like, I've never seen Nike. I think Nike tried to like fix, quote unquote, fix their qualifications for women and things like that. But I've never seen them do anything substantial, I would say, to
Right.
address the issues that they were having as far as, women feeling like becoming a mother, giving birth, precluded them from being a world class athlete in Nike's eyes.
Yeah, and I think we probably touched on this topic a while ago. That's cool to say that. But yeah, in terms of Nike and pregnant or athletes that recently become mothers, if I recall, I think that Nike wanted to reduce Allison Felix's contract to 70%
Mm-hmm.
um, of what the contract stated. The terms of her contract in terms of pay when she returned, and Allison basically wanted to put in like, I won't be penalized for becoming a mother, and Nike declined.
Yeah.
I am happy to see. I think, over time, brands, people, everything evolves. So I'm hoping that they saw that as a lesson, and whoever is in the room decided to make some changes to these sorts of policies. I don't know what those changes in contracts may or may not look like. But the campaign is nice. But hopefully, in the background, the way that athletes are moving about as part of
Yeah.
Nike's team, it's reflected there as well.
But don't you? I find it weird because, like, when we talk about the issue that Nike had with mothers, like, it almost sounded like something you would hear about from like the 70s or something. Like, this was a couple years ago, and we're still sitting up here talking about, equal treatment and picking career over motherhood. Like, in what was that, like 2018, maybe at the latest, maybe
2017 for sure.
2017. Yeah. Um, that's kind of That's insane. And especially for a brand like Nike, who, is always kind of seen as cutting edge and innovative. And um, I felt like a very weird fight to be having in 2017, let alone to be talking about in 2021.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think that is the case, but look around in the world that we live in. We live in a white male's world. When if you want to look at it broad scale, big picture, and a lot of these fights are still happening, and it's sad that we are in the 21st century and this is literally our reality. But Serena and Venus, for instance, are continuing to fight and speak on behalf of women's, particularly Black women's rights and equality and things of that sort. So, I mean, while I am surprised, I'm not surprised,
Hmm.
um, which is like you, I think what you're alluding to is kind of like shocking in and of itself that here we are in 2017, 2021, still having these sorts of conversations. But yeah, I did just see that in 2018, Nike updated their policy. So female athletes will no longer be financially penalized for having a child. And we always knew that that protection was in place for Serena, who was
Right.
their biggest athlete. But
The rules for track athletes, it's so they're that the track industry is just so fickle. You know what I mean? Like, even taking motherhood outside of it, like, if there
yeah,
comes a point where you're not meeting these times and, like,
yeah.
like, that's it, your contract is pulled and then you can't pay for training, and so, like, you're no longer a track athlete. So it's just it's just a different kind of game there. But again, like, I'm glad that in 2018 they've updated their rules across the board so that it's not just the Serenas that are getting support. It's all of your female athletes. And then again, looking at the spot that they released, it was a beautiful spot, and I'm hoping that this is an indicator of, to your point, the work that they're doing internally to continue on that path.
Yeah, I, like I said, evolution is key. I think, you continue to evolve as brands. You see, I think this is the best sort of response when you do see something like an outcry on social media, or you hear your athletes saying this isn't fair, and then you hear the outpour of support that comes along with it. You expect the change to come about. I think these are the type of results that we want as consumers, but also that the athletes want when they are raising their hand saying, hey, this isn't right, or, protesting about it. So I think it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully,
Hmm.
we can continue to see these sorts of changes.
Yeah, really quickly to kind of, it's not, we don't have it like in our
Uh
list,
huh.
but I don't know if you've been seeing the conversation online around the NCAA basketball tournament and the disparities between what the men are getting versus what the women are getting.
What they're
It's
getting in
really
terms of what?
bad. Like the weight room situation for the men, it's a world class weight room, as you would expect. The women literally have one stand of like hand weights, and it's like that's your weight room. And yeah, and the NCAA is trying to justify that. It's the craziest thing I have seen. Um, and just like for it to be Women's History Month, and then you got it's a Title IX violation, I would think, right? Like, how do they? I mean, they're in like the same place. The women can walk over there and see this is what the men get, and this is
No
what we
way. Are
got.
you kidding me?
Yes, yes, yes. Even
Back
their
to
like
literally
welcome
what?
pack, even their welcome pack, the men's spread is like all these brands and all this stuff, all the different t-shirts and all this kind of stuff. And then like the women might have gotten less than 25% of what the men got.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty,
That's.
pretty insane.
I just think that the whole dynamic in sport, period, is a broader conversation, as we
Of
continue to
course.
say.
Of
But it's
course.
particularly when it comes to NCAA sports, y'all got to know that that's not right. But the part that's getting me is them trying to justify it.
Yeah, like I think they said something like there wasn't enough space or something, but like
Nah.
one of
Well, take
the
space from the men.
exactly. And one of the basketball players went out there and showed like there's a whole like half of a warehouse with nothing in it. Like
Was this
on
one
the other
particular team, or is this?
no, I think this is for all of the women in the tournament to use. Like for, like they might
Oh,
have different time slots to go down there. So it's like a practice
uh huh.
court. There's like a training table. It was like the little, the weights. And then it was just like nothing, just like empty space. And so for the NCAA to say there's not enough space to build you guys this, to put the adequate equipment in there for you guys to perform, you know, uh, to
Wow.
perform to the best of your ability, and then for them to go down there and show like there's all this space not being used. What are you talking about? It's kind of insane. So I'm interested to see what if anything comes of it, honestly, because when it comes to, again, to your point, it's a larger conversation. When it comes to women's sports, let alone college sports, for some reason, those headlines, they're here today and gone tomorrow. We forget about them.
Literally, literally. But like I said, we shouldn't be surprised. But these things are the things that are continuing to happen in 2021. All we can hope for is as we continue to lift our voice and be advocates and allies to
Hmm.
these sports, in my case, to women, that you'll continue to see those changes. Um, Speaking of women, Chloe and Halle are named the new faces of Neutrogena. I just love this because I love
Yeah,
Chloe and Halle.
of course.
And I've seen like a couple of their campaigns or the things that are coming out on IG, and I just think it's perfect. I think it's a good match in terms of partnership and sponsorship from Neutrogena.
Yeah, I mean, obviously their star has been rising lately, especially given their amazing quarantine performances,
Right.
and then obviously everything that's been going on, the conversation around Chloe and then Halle off doing her Disney thing. So, obviously a big brand like Neutrogena, that's a huge win for them. They've been doing a couple of fashion campaigns and stuff like that. So just love to see them win. And obviously, uh, not surprising. being that they are mentored by Beyonce, right?
Right. And they're both like really beautiful girls. So,
Yeah.
think of a makeup brand that will want to use some personalities that are
Hmm.
very relevant right now. And then also tied to Black culture. There
For
you have it.
sure.
I think it's a perfect choice on Neutrogena's part, but obviously also good for Chloe and Halle,
Yeah.
securing yet another bag.
Another bag. Yeah, I can't wait to see what else. Obviously they put out like a spot and um, some ads and stuff, but what can't wait to see what else comes of it. Moving right along, I'm sure everybody has heard at this point about Triller acquiring Versus, which was a major move. Obviously, Versus came about again because of COVID, because of quarantine, and Swiss Beats and Timberland looking for a way to bring artists together, bring people together. Everybody's stuck at home, and they created this really impactful, really culture driven platform with some like amazing matchups, right?
Yep.
So looking at Triller and what they've been up to recently, excuse me, like obviously they started as almost like a TikTok esque app, and then they started
Right.
getting into more of the boxing space. These kind of weird matchups, like the Jake Pauls versus like Nate Robinson type stuff with Snoop Dogg as the ringside commentator and stuff like that. So they were clearly looking for other forms of content that they could attach themselves to and kind of reposition them as a brand. So not surprised that they would acquire a Versus. But what I really, really liked about this deal was the fact that all of the artists that have been featured on Versus got a cut or like are part. Yeah, like they got like a
Oh,
cut of the
nice.
deal. Yeah, so everybody from Patti LaBelle to Gucci and Jeezy to Brandy and Monica, like they all were a part of uh, the initial deal.
Wait, I wonder how that worked.
Yeah, I don't know what the splits are. Yeah, but they're shareholders and partners, and like literally everybody up to D'Angelo.
What
Um,
do you think the longevity of Versus is, though? I know that we are excited for Versus now because of quarantine, and then also because of the classic artists that they have been bringing. I think it's
mhm.
been a lot of nostalgia around it in terms of who's been on so far.
Right.
But what do you think the trajectory is? Do you think there's a burnout in terms of, okay, the excitement's going to die down? How do they either one evolve it, or how do we stay? And I think this is the same question. How do we as consumers stay interested?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, it's going to have to evolve because as people start getting the vaccine and the world, opens up as it has been, we're not confined to our homes in the same way we were when this first started. But I think it's a very easy evolution, a very easy pivot, live
Uh-huh.
events with audiences, traveling, whole tours,
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah,
And also, like, maybe many people aren't aware of this, but the whole concept of like two artists or two producers, I would say, coming together to battle, like song for song, didn't start during COVID. Like
right,
I've seen, in the same
right.
place, I've seen a Swiss Beats versus, I want to say, Timberland or Just Blaze before, or like Alchemist versus Just Blaze and stuff like that. So like there's an audience there, there's an appetite for that. I think people are going to want to see it in person. I do think though that what this year has taught us is that you can kind of have the best of both worlds. Like you can do something IRL, but you could also stream it, right? So if you guys are doing some big concert at the Hollywood Bowl featuring two LA based artists and I'm all the way
Right,
here in Miami, I can still watch it. You know what I mean? And then maybe
right.
maybe it'll make its way over here,
All
whatever. But
right,
I,
don't
I
give
think,
away all the ideas. Don't give
oh,
them
oh,
all
oh,
the.
oh, you're right.
Don't give them everything.
I'm pretty sure they've thought about this stuff. I'm not saying
Right.
anything crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different avenues um, can take, and so I don't think we're going to get burnt out. burnt out on the brand. Maybe the current format,
Right,
the
right,
split
right.
screen with the artists not together, whatever.
Yes.
Maybe, but there's a lot of different ways that they can continue to grow this.
Like you said, it has to happen. And I think they know that as well as we know that.
Right. Still sticking to kind of tech and apps and things of that nature. Clubhouse. So Clubhouse, we've been talking about Clubhouse for a while, when we first kind of started using it, seeing how other people were using it, seeing its growth, how it's been positioned compared to other social media platforms. Is it social
Hmm.
media? Is it more of like a content creation type of thing? There's a lot going on there. But recently I noticed that there were two major hires um, to Clubhouse, one being Maya Watson from Netflix, who I believe is like the head of, is going to be like the head of marketing. And then Fadia from Instagram, which I found very interesting. So I think she's head of partnerships. Um, and she was actually one of the first people I saw talk, or not one of, she was the first person I saw talking about Clubhouse and how I noticed like a lot of industry folks, like music and entertainment folks from Twitter, becoming aware of the platform and jumping on early. So I think it was a super smart move for them to poach her from Instagram and bring her on in the capacity that they brought her on, head of media partnerships and creators. She has a proven track record in that space.
Right.
Uh, I'm not sure how long she was at Instagram, but she was very pivotal to Versus in the beginning too. Them kind of getting everything set up and shifting or being able to kind of maneuver around IG Live's original parameters. Like the hour long stream. When
Yeah.
remember in the beginning when you had to like cut off the live and then they had to cut it back on, and then you notice
Yes.
towards the end, now they don't have to do that anymore. Like
Right.
what I've heard is she's had something to do with that, and obviously her relationship with artists and things like that help there, which is again why I think this is a super smart move. Two really smart hires there, and still really interested to see what happens now with Clubhouse. So the other thing is that they have launched an accelerator program for creators, which I think is going to be very, very
Oh
important
yeah.
as, you have all these creators on TikTok and they're gaining followings and monetizing. Same thing on Instagram and YouTube. And, for the most part, creators have their preferred platform. So how do you
Yeah.
get them to convert to a Clubhouse and put out compelling content, so that when people are logging on the app, it's not just like random Joe Schmo with like toxic ass chat
Right.
over here. There's something that's compelling, and that they're always innovating, and there's something new and interesting to tune into on the platform. Um, yeah, because I think that over the next couple of months, it's going to be very, very important for the app. Again, as people are shifting back to their normal or somewhat normal consumer behavior, like their commutes again. Are
Right.
you listening into podcasts versus watching video content? There's this whole conversation where before we were talking about this is our new normal and people are confined to homes. And so long
Yeah.
form content, Quibi, you got to get up out of here. Like
Right.
now I feel like we're starting to shift
It's
back in the opposite direction.
it's all about timing, and I think, like you're saying, with this creators or the initiative behind the accelerator program, Clubhouse is a voice app. So, like exactly what you're saying, with creators having their preferred platform, how do you bring a creator off of TikTok or off of Instagram or YouTube and show them how resourceful a Clubhouse could be? I think that's I'm glad that they're being mindful of that and they're creating these sorts of programs. I'm interested to see how Clubhouse, especially knowing that they are pulling from a lot of these other social apps. that are centered around culture and music and community. I'm interested to know how they continue to evolve as you start to get more of these people at the table to kind of start moving the train in a direction, or at
Yeah.
least start thinking about these other pockets and places to continue to evolve. So I think this next year is going to be very interesting for Clubhouse. You're going to see a lot of shifts, as well as I think more users continuing to be added to the platform. You're going to see growth.
Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to it. Um, in recent history, can you think of any other app? Well, I guess maybe TikTok. I was going to say that had as much fanfare around it, but I guess TikTok is that, right?
Yeah, TikTok was the last one.
Yeah.
I would
Cool.
say, and before that it was Snapchat. I'm not sure where Snapchat is right now.
I don't know. I feel like
Anybody checked on Snapchat?
I feel like they tried to make some big update that users weren't feeling, and then it was a wrap for them. But also, it was Facebook trying to acquire them saying no, and then Facebook copying
uh,
all their functionality. So
right. Well,
yeah,
there you have it.
yeah, unfortunate, but I guess that's just how the game is played.
Phew.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately.
yeah. So full disclosure, we took a little break because this next one, I think we're both a little confused as to like what exactly is going on here. So it was announced that Issa Rae's radio has partnered with Viacom for what they're calling a multi-year partnership deal to provide library access and original music. I'm assuming that means, well, we've talked about radio before. So she has a couple of acts signed already. I know that I think young baby Tate is signed there, and Tamar, something like that. I don't know. She has this song called Tick. It's pretty good with Sir, but I'm blanking on her name right now. But so I always thought that radio was a record label. So then I'm assuming that the artists that are signed will create original music for Viacom's portfolio of network. I don't know. I don't know what's going
Okay,
on.
I have some more context now
Okay.
after going to Radio's website. So they are more so a music curation company as well. So it's a highly curated selection process that they provide from start to finish, music supervision. And they also offer consulting services for all media. So if you think of original score and sound designs, publishing, so wanting to curate a soundtrack, or we're creating this film, but we want music to go along with it. How do we position
Okay.
that? What artists do we tap? How do we bring this to life? Production music libraries, and then, like I said, music supervision. So creative input on song clearance for music. All of those things. So if you're creating a feature film and you need music, but you don't know how to go about that, you can tap a company like Radio to be able to provide that. So I think knowing now that that's happening, I have a better understanding of what
Okay.
it is,
Yeah.
rather than having their artists specifically
Specifically
create.
create. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
And that, I
that's
mean, and
not.
that makes total sense. Like given the role that music played on just Insecure alone, and like the
Right.
the PR headlines around that. So I'm sure, once that started happening, it was like, oh wait, we have something here. Like we can provide this, we can do the same thing for
Yep.
other networks, other platforms. So either way,
I
good
feel
for
better because I was
yeah.
just about to be like, that is dumb. That doesn't even make any sense. How do you?
Yeah, I was like, why would I sign to a label where all I'm gonna do is make songs for Nickelodeon? I don't want to do that. Um,
Right.
yeah, but okay, cool. Good for them. That makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering how much. I mean, it says multi-year deal. I'm pretty sure she made a lot of money off of that. So get your bag, girl.
Yep.
And
Let's
then
go.
sticking with kind of the music and entertainment space, it was also announced that Lena Waithe is launching Hillmangrad Records in partnership with Def Jam. And now this seems like a more traditional record label, that's like a subsidiary of Def Jam.
Hmm.
If you've been keeping up with Lena Waithe, she's been doing a lot of stuff, even outside of TV and film production, a lot of live events where she'll have artists performing in kind of like underground um, artists that she's bringing light to, giving a platform to. So
Hmm.
uh, I see where she's headed with this. Would love to see, who are the first couple people signed and hear some stuff from them. If it's people we've heard of before, people we haven't.
Yeah, I love this. Like you said, this is very much a traditional subsidiary type of situation.
Hmm.
With Lena Waithe at the head, I think that just adds another layer of visibility to it. Also, knowing how she's trekked in the space in her proximity to music with the shows that she's put out. So I'm not sure how much of a musician she is or how much of a musician lover or lover of music she is. But beyond that, I think that this is a good move. And like you said, you can see which direction she's kind of headed in.
Yeah. Um, Sticking with music, the Grammys aired
The
this past weekend,
Grammys.
last week.
Yes.
When this is dropping, it'll be last weekend.
Yes.
Did you watch?
I watched bits and pieces.
Which bits and pieces?
I saw Doja Cat perform. I saw the people before her. That's a shame. The other artists, some of the other artists before her
Okay.
perform. I saw
Did you see?
Savage, Upstuck. I saw WAP
Okay.
performance.
Okay.
I saw Meg get her Grammys.
Multiple.
Um,
So then you
I
saw
saw
Beyonce get hers too, right?
I saw the illustrious
Okay.
phenomenon, icon, legend, living legend, might I add, most awarded female vocalist.
This is
Um,
a new segment on the podcast. It's called "We Stand Queen Bee." In case anybody was
we
wondering.
stand Queen Bee, mother of three, husband, wife to Jay, daughter of Tina, and sister of Solange,
Get
received her
all.
28th Grammy award. Yes, I did see that. If
Yeah.
that's what you were asking, I'm sorry. I'm all
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
witty.
Yeah. I mean, I think the answer was in there somewhere, so you did see it. Um, how did you feel? Number one, I didn't know that Beyonce. I thought Beyonce said she wasn't coming. Did I misread that?
I
I thought
know
she
it was
wasn't
said
coming.
somewhere where they said she was not making a surprise appearance, which
Hmm.
I thought that meant that she was not doing a surprise performance.
Okay. Well, she didn't do
But
that.
right, she clearly didn't do that. But yeah, I felt like I didn't think she was coming, but also she didn't come until she got good and ready to come. They probably
Yeah.
was like, Beyonce, okay, we're not supposed to tell you this, but you are going to receive an award tonight. Can you please come?
Yeah, and that's exactly what it seemed like. It was like,
And
"Girl,
she
can
was
you
like, all
please come?
right.
Like you're about to make history." And she's like, "All right, I'll pop through right quick before dinner."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I love that, obviously when the Savage remix won, I don't even think Meg knew she was there. She looked just as shocked to see her. And then that award was the one that gave her the tie for the
Oh,
most
yes.
Grammys by like a female artist or something like that, which
Mhm.
what I did think was odd though was like the way that they announced that. You would think that, okay, an artist is about to make history on your platform. Like, wouldn't it be like a bigger show, like a video montage showing her winning her first and her second and
Right.
all this kind of stuff? It was just Trevor Noah being like, hold up 1 second. You about to make history. All right, go back to your seat,
Yeah, they absolutely. I think that's a really good point. They absolutely could have did a better job of making that a moment. Clearly, they knew. The Grammys
Mhm.
knew that she was going to win, and it was
Yeah,
going to
it's
be a
your
historic
award.
moment.
Yeah, you give the awards out. You know who you're about to give them to. Like,
So
why
that
wasn't that a
absolutely
thing?
should have been something. I even think it could have been something cool if they would have. Yeah, however they positioned it. I was about to go into details, but however they positioned it. But like you said, if they would have did something more to make it a moment of celebration, I mean, Yeah. What I will note though is when Jay didn't seem so amused. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
Initially,
mean, yeah.
he was just like of course celebrating her, but like I wonder if that stain or disdain is still there in
It is.
terms
No,
of
for sure. And we're talking about someone who has won 28 Grammys now and has still never received what? Album of the year or record of the year.
yeah.
How is
Yep.
that possible?
How is that possible? It don't
You
add
know,
up. Make it make
it
sense.
doesn't. And I think, so I think that, obviously she's grateful to have made history and have these Grammys, but it's still a slap in the face. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
still like, y'all only doing it. You need me more than I need you. You need me here. You need me
Absolutely.
to legitimize your platform. These
Right.
awards don't legitimize my career.
Yeah. I've
They
been
don't, they can't mean anything because you've never even given me the most important ones. Like Taylor Swift has as many Grammys in those major categories as Stevie Wonder or close to.
she has
No
won 3
way.
albums of the year.
No way.
3.
Absolutely not.
And this last one for Folklore?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, yeah, I think you make a great point. But yeah, I did notice and pick up on that and I think that's what it was. And I was like,
Yeah.
is that what I'm picking up? And yeah, I think you're right. It's like, we're not Uncle Tom in this anymore. Like, yeah, happy,
Hmm.
celebrating. But like you said, at this point, it's more what I'm doing for you than what you're doing for me.
Exactly. And we have this argument a lot on here, or not argument, but we discuss a lot on here about, do we don't need these awards like to validate our artists. Like if black artists aren't being celebrated in the way they should, like we should pay more attention to the BET awards and the Soul Train awards and things like that. I think it's even
Mhm.
more so for Beyonce, right? So I get the argument that newer artists, excuse me, once you get nominated or once you win a Grammy, there are tangible things that come along with that.
Right,
You are now Grammy award winning, whatever. There's more
right.
money, there's more streaming. There are things that
Your
come
stock,
from
the
that.
price just went up.
The
Yeah.
price went up. Beyonce's price is already up.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? 27 Grammys versus 28 Grammys does not put any more money in her pocket.
Right.
She does not need to be
All
here.
right. You're
And
right.
y'all need to stop playing in her face too if you want her to keep coming back.
And that's right. Right. You
So
said it. I have nothing else to give.
yeah, so
Thank you.
I was like, oh, this is a cute moment, whatever. I was like, okay. I did like that Blue Ivy got her Grammy and took her picture with her little straw sipping out the Grammy.
What an
Um,
icon.
right.
What an icon.
Love that little girl. That was a very, very cute moment. And a very
Yes.
cute photo op. So that wraps up what we have for Above the Fold, which means that it's time.
Oh, one other thing that I think
What?
we have to mention. Kanye West has made news this week as the most wealthiest black man ever.
How?
His net worth is now worth $6.6 billion.
What are they calculating? Wasn't he just in like $1 billion worth of debt last year?
Kim got him out of that. No, I can't say that. But
I'm
yeah,
confused. I don't understand
apparently,
how.
according to whatever sources are out here that be calculating the celebrity's net worth, he's
Yeah.
now worth more than $6.6 billion.
I mean, I
Um,
guess good for him, but I guess I don't know how money works because I don't know how you go from being in debt to having almost $7 billion in the span of 1-2 years.
well, yeah, I don't know either.
Huh?
You didn't see this?
I did, but I didn't read much into it because I'm like, where these numbers seem like, how does Kanye have more money than Jay-Z?
Yeah, and it just feel like it happened overnight, right?
And that's what I'm saying.
Because
Like,
last
what
year
is
he
he?
just made the $1 billion mark,
Yeah,
apparently, that he was broadcasting.
right. Remember, he had to like cuss out Forbes because Forbes is like, technically, you're not a billionaire. So, no, we can't say that. You remember? And then, like, finally, he reached that threshold and they were like, okay, I guess Kanye's a billionaire now.
It's been disputed, updated as of 3/18. Forbes has published a lengthy analyst of assets and contributed to West's report of $6.6 billion net worth. It finds that the actual number is said to be closer to 1.8 billion. I don't know who comes out and puts these numbers out, but I'm glad I caught that.
Like,
I don't know where the other 4.7 billion came from.
That's a huge difference. Like, did Kanye just call up and be like, guess what? I got $7 billion. And they were like, oh, you the richest black man in the universe. Let's publish it. Like,
but I think that goes to say, you know, some people can just our publications can put out anything and everybody will just run with it. Because that's kind of like our source. But
look, well, I'm about to call up Forbes and tell them I got $2 billion. Run it, publish it, put it out there.
Right.
So I guess that wraps up Above the Fold then, which means that we're on to our game segment. Guess that spokesperson. And on our last episode, we agreed to kind of shifting the rules a bit because what we realized is we don't know shit about these brands.
We don't. And rightfully so. We're not supposed to.
Like, yeah. Like, I don't know when this brand was founded and
or
where and whatever, right? So we're going to stay true to the name of the game segment. And now we'll only be guessing the spokesperson. We'll give the brand, but the brand does not count towards the 3 hints, right? So there'll be 3 hints for the spokesperson and you'll know the brand. All right.
All right.
I'm first up, having you guess. Don't have to ask, do you want the brand or the spokesperson first anymore, right?
Isn't that lovely?
So the brand is Target, right?
Right.
And here are your 3 hints for the spokesperson. He attended Alabama State University, but dropped out in 2015 after only attending for 2 months.
Okay.
In 2017, he was nominated for 3 Billboard Awards, 3 MTV Music Awards, and even a Grammy, but he didn't win any of them.
In what year?
2017. And he is signed to one of, if not the most popular hip hop label in Atlanta. You get 3 yes or no questions still.
Alabama, State, 2 months. That's not helpful to me. And dropped out. In 2017, he was nominated for a Grammy.
A Grammy, 3 MTV Video Music Awards, and 3 Billboard Awards.
3 Billboard Awards. And he is signed to one of the most notable record labels in Atlanta.
Hip-hop labels. Most popular hip-hop labels in Atlanta.
Has he been featured on a song with Beyonce?
I don't think so. No, I feel like I would know that. No, probably not.
Okay, so that eliminates one person.
Wait. Why do I think maybe? Hold on one second.
I think you would know that. If it was the person I'm talking about, you would know off top.
Okay, then no. He's gotten an Ivy Park package, though. I just found that out by Googling.
Dang. I can't. Was his spot featured with Target after 2017?
That's a great question. No, I think it was in 2017. You got one more yes or no?
Oh, wow. Is he an independent artist? I mean, like by himself. He doesn't.
He's not in a group or anything. No. I'll give you one more hint just because I want you to get it. Maybe you'll get this one. He ghost wrote a song by one of my current favorite hip hop groups.
Is it? I don't know. Soldier Boy.
No. It's Lil Yachty.
What did he ghostwrite?
He ghost wrote the City Girl song.
Oh.
Remember, he was even in the video parodying his ghostwriting.
Wow.
And you should have known City Girls was the group I was talking about.
I should have known. That was good. That was a good one, though.
See, I try.
Really
see, I try to be fair. I try to be fair. Remember that next time when it's shoes on the other foot.
That was really good.
All right. So moving into our final segment, our last words are going with your black ads or that ain't it. Bronzy, would you like to go first?
Yes, I will go first. I'm going to give. I'm going to go with Lena Waithe for going with your black ads.
Okay.
I'm always loving whenever someone is able or looks to build underrepresented artists in particular, and do something along those lines. So I'm happy to see what she's doing with her influence and the partnership with Def Jam. Excited to see what Helm and Grad Records becomes and who all comes out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that ain't it. I guess this technically falls under it. Whoever be putting out these numbers for these celebrities' net worths.
True. Yeah, that ain't it.
That ain't it, because you just pull that number out of I don't know where. So that's what I'm gonna go with this week.
Cool. Okay, so for me, I'm going to say going with your black ads to Chloe and Halle for their partnership with Neutrogena. Obviously, yes. Always love to see young black girls get in the bag, and especially the past couple of weeks that Chloe has had. Love that for them. And then I don't really want to say like that ain't it, but it's more of a we gonna see if that's it.
Okay.
To the Nike ad. Like I said, beautifully shot commercial. Love the message with compelling story. Love the message within the spot, but want to see them do more outside of this commercial for the mothers and the women that are signed Nike athletes. And that's that.
That's that on that.
That's that on that.
Cool. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of With Your Black Ads. As always, thank you for listening. Please follow us on Instagram at With Your Black Ads. Like, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, With Your Black Ads, and comment, DM us. Let us know that you're listening. Yeah. Let us know what you find interesting or what you find different than the opinions that we gave.
Yeah. And also, like, shout out to all the people on social who like tag us and stuff that we might miss, and other brands like, hey, did y'all see this? I'm kind of feeling like the black ads police on Instagram these days. Right. So appreciate it.
Keep tagging us. We'd like to see those things. Talk to y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about. God, that's what I'm talking about. It was so black ass. It was black